welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing with you my completed pages for the month of March and flipping through my new coloring books for the first time. This month I completed 13 pages and I purchased 7 new books, which I waited to look through until I was with you all because I like to give my initial reactions as I flip through. And also, as a reminder, all the books that I colored in have flip throughs already on my channel in either my coloring book collection video or in previous completed pages videos from each month. I always have timestamps in the description for you so you can jump ahead to the book you want to see. And I also will link any products that I show in today's video in the description box for you. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. The first book that I colored in is Tiny Petits. I got this off Amazon UK. I got it because it reminded me of Joanna Basford's Tiny Victories, I think it's called. I love the artwork in that and always see people posting about that book and I love it, but it's double-sided and I mostly color with alcohol markers. So this is a single-sided version, basically. It's not obviously Joanna Basford, but it is similar in that the art is lots of little images and it's got different holidays in it. Like I said, you can find a flip through on my channel of it a little more in depth, but it does have some holiday specific pages. And I've been really into spring and Easter and excited about the warmer months here where I live. And so I wanted to kind of reflect that in my coloring. And so I found this page. I loved this little rabbit and I knew exactly in my mind what colors I wanted him to be. It just took a minute to translate that into what markers that was, but I knew I wanted him to be a light little brown rabbit with his little pink bow here. And I guess it could be a she too, but I don't know. It looks like a little he. And the flowers here, I chose this color palette, number 414 from Sarah Renee Clark's color catalog. I talk a lot about this on my channel and I'll be making a new video all about how I made the color catalog into a book and also how I use the cubes and everything surrounding Sarah Renee Clark's color catalog, because that's the number one thing I get questions about, I would say. And the first video I made, it was all over the place about how I made them into books and it was a one take. And because I still get so many questions and I'm more familiar now with posting and editing and everything like that, I thought it might be helpful to some of you if I made a new revised video with anything that I can possibly think of that you might have questions about. So if you have any specific questions and you've heard me talk about the color catalog and you want to know more, leave them down below because I am planning out a video on that. But that is what these cards are from. And this month, I, for every page, marked what markers or products that I used and then what catalog color palettes I chose. And I pulled out the cards from the color cubes to share with you. So you can see here that these are the colors I picked for this bouquet here. And these are the colors that I used. I use Ohuhu markers. On almost all of my pages, that's exclusively what I use, but I did use a little bit of some Posca markers and colored pencils, so I'll share that with you when I get there. But I just wanted to show what colors I used in case you saw a page you really liked and you wanted some inspiration. I wanted to go ahead and mark those down for you. And then this little chick down here, I did number 388, a little pastel color palette here. And I always tweak. I use her color catalog companion to pick out which markers match the palette, but I always tweak it. So this yellow, I wanted to be a little bit more of a chick yellow. So I chose GY6, which is actually my favorite yellow by Ohuhu. And these are the colors that I chose. And obviously I did 388. And so, like I said, I just wanted to do this because sometimes when I don't want to pick colors and I'm watching someone the way they do a page and I love the colors they picked, I just want to mindlessly copy it. So I wanted to share it with you just in case any of you are like that as well. But that is the first page that I did. Even though it's 2 little images, I counted it as 1 page, and that's from Tiny Petits. The next page I did is in Beautiful Days of Green Ivy. This is obviously foreign to me, but on Amazon it's called Beautiful Days of Green Ivy. And I love this book. I first shared this with you when I got it last month. I shared it in my Completed Pages February video. as a flip through as one of my new books. So I went ahead and did my first page in it. It has the 4 seasons in it. And again, I have shared this previously on my page, but I thought that I wouldn't like pages or coloring books with examples, but I got a storefront book that you may have seen in my January completed pages video that I flipped through and did a page in, and I actually really liked it. It taught me a lot about shading and textures, and it helped me approach coloring in a way that I haven't before, and therefore I really learned from it. So I really enjoyed it, and I've seen this book for a while, and I'm absolutely obsessed with the artwork in it, excuse me. And so I love anything that's seasonal, and so I love any excuse to celebrate a season, and coloring is no exception. So I went ahead and purchased it once I realized that I liked books with this kind of format. But I believe this is watercolor. I did alcohol markers, of course, and they worked really well on this paper. This paper is quite smooth. It didn't bleed out too much and kind of feather, and it was just really enjoyable. I was so surprised at how well the markers did on the paper. I did use a little bit of, I think I only used one color. Yeah, I used Prina colored pencils, and I used CO29 to add some texture here to the birds because they were really textured in this example. But I just really loved it. And it also helps me approach choosing colors differently, because when I'm trying to color match it, I've recognized colors that I wouldn't have normally picked out of my bunch. And so I just really love it. And I love the way her little cheeks turned out, and her little dress was tedious, but it was fun. And yeah, I've just really loved this page. Here are the colors that I chose, or I used, I should say. I didn't choose them because they were already chosen for me. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. And again, I'll just say, if you're interested in this book, I've said it before, but basically because I use alcohol markers and they bleed, there is divider pages for each season, which works well because I was able to go straight into spring and I don't ruin a page here. But I will have to work back to front. So next I would do this page, and even though I would mess this up, it'd be okay because I already had this picture done. So that's kind of my plan and my compromise. I don't want to destroy any pages in the book, but I love alcohol markers, and I really like the way they work on this paper. And so they also blend really well because it's so smooth. I can't explain it, but just so happy with this book. And one thing real quick that I'll say, I didn't say this when I flipped through this book initially because I didn't notice it until I was coloring in it. But on every page, she has this little black cat with her. And I'm sure some of you probably caught that when I flipped through it. Where is he? Oh, he's over her shoulder in this one. But I just thought that was such an even cuter little touch. And I could go on and on about this book. I just love it so much. It's thick, the cover's nice, the inside is beautiful. And I'm going to use an app to translate this because I want to know what is underneath this over here. I'm so interested to know. So anyway, that is Beautiful Days of Green Ivy. That's the second page I did this month. Next, I did some pages in Garden Corners. I've shown this book a lot. Again, I got it because I'm wanting to lean into the spring, and I have just really been loving doing some bold and easy coloring. And so this, I did a color with me on my channel. If you want to see specifically what colors I used, I didn't write them down because I was just filming and it was a chatty color with me. So I just talked through what colors I picked, but I had fun with this one. I used ink glitter markers on the little butterflies here. Hopefully you can see that. And these little flowers. Oh, and the inside of that flower as well. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. Someone in the comments said that they wanted to curl up and read a book here, and I feel the exact same way. I would love if this was a real little place that I could jump into, and that's part of why I love coloring. It's just like when you read a book, you get transported into another world, and I feel that way with coloring, except you get to make it your own and visually imagine it. I love it so much. But there's another page I did this month that I also want to curl up in and read a book or do something of the sort. So, or color, better yet. So I can't wait to show you that one. But yeah, so I did this. I really like the way that I kind of kept the lines wavy here along the border and the sky there. I loved that. And I found, and you might see this in this month, I found that I tend to gravitate towards these colors. I think this might be either pear color, or which is like R29, I think, by Who, or chocolate pink. It's one of those, but this kind of peachy pink with this vibe, I do this a lot, I'm realizing, on my pages. And then GY7 sugarcane, it feels very retro and cutesy and girly, and yeah, I've just found that I gravitate towards those colors together. This little daisy, it's CG, the Roman numerals, and then OO, Ohu, which is basically the white Ohu, and then a little yellow center. But yeah, I tend to use those a lot whenever there's a daisy on something. And this, I did that on another page last month. So anyway, this my sister did actually. I've been enjoying coloring with my sister and my niece. My niece has gotten really into it, and she's really young, but she was so careful with my markers. I watched her really closely and let her try, and she did amazing and didn't go out of the lines at all in a Bold and Easy book. And she's only 4, and so I was so impressed. So I got her some off-brand alcohol markers, and we've been playing around with it a lot, and just I've been amazed at how well she does. Her mom is an artist and has a degree in fine arts and is an art teacher, so it's natural, it's in her. But that has been making me so happy. All I want to do is sit and color with her. But anyway, my sister did this one. I just want to show as an extra bonus couple of pages she did to show you someone else's color choices. I was talking to her about shading and highlights, and so I kind of added some to the trunk here. But that is my sister Anna's page. And then this is the other page I was saying I would love to curl up in. I want this rocking chair in my house. I love it. And these are the colors that I chose. And again, this is from the Garden Corner book. And I didn't choose a color palette with this one. I just knew that orange and blue are complementary, and I just kind of leaned into that. And I tried to keep to a smaller set of markers, which is something I've talked to you guys about. I'm trying to lean into that because I get excited and want everything to be a different color, because that's how real life is, really. There's colors everywhere. But something about when you put that on a page, it looks a little bit cluttered and busy, and your eyes get a little bit, things don't pop out as much. And so I've been working on having a limited color palette. And so I did that with this page, and it's really hard for me. I'm like, no, well, everything I think is an exception. I'm like, I'll just do this one thing a different color. I'll just do this. And then before I know it, the whole page is just a rainbow. And so that's really a challenge for me, but you'll see I've been trying to get better about it. I started with really, I think, lighter colored pots here, and then I kept changing it and putting darker colors on top. And at first I really didn't like it, and I thought, oh, that ruined the page, because those are just like black / very dark green pots. But I think it kind of works, and I really like it. I'm happy with this page. And then the final page I did in this book is this, and I actually filmed a color with me on this. So I did use a color palette, but I chose it it's with my next page because I didn't realize I chose it twice this month. That was a coincidence. But I filmed a color with me on this, and then I didn't post it. The sound was odd. I used a microphone to do it more like ASMR and no talking, just because I love the sounds of marker on a paper, and I thought some of you might as well. But I need to play around with that more because I just wasn't really happy with the way it turned out. I still have it, and you might see it randomly get posted sometime if I'm able to adjust the sound at all. But anyway, these are the colors that I picked. And again, I kept to a more limited palette, and you'll see which color palette I chose with the next page. I also added glitter to the center of the flowers with the ink markers. And this was a page where I made a mistake on it, because I tried to keep the ground here more in like a small circle here. And then I was going around and I kept adjusting it, kind of like I do with eyeliner. The more you adjust it, the thicker it gets, and it just becomes an issue. And so you can kind of see my squiggles here, and now it's darker in the center. And then I just ended up blending it, and it kind of gave it some texture. I think it's fine, but that was another reason too with that video that I was like, there's too many things that didn't go super well, and I learned from it. So anyway, that is the final page I did in this book. The next one is in Country Seasons by Ava Brown. This, again, is a seasonal book. Like I said, I love those. And it's got, I think, 25 pages about. I have little dividers here for each season. But every season, I have done a wreath. Actually, I can show you real quick. I did a Christmas, or I should say a winter one. And then I did a fall one. Actually did the fall one first. And then I didn't have it for last summer, so I did the spring one in here. And this is the same color palette that I chose for the last image, and it's number 84. I love these, I think, tulips. And I looked up some images of flowers and tried to kind of go off and be realistic. I used the lighter pink on the inside and of the flowers, and then did the darker on the outside. And I love the way these flowers turned out. The only thing I don't love about this page is I wish I would have done right here like a brown or like a dirt color, as if someone's, you know, digging up the dirt and about to plant things here. I had thought about it, and for some reason I thought it wasn't going to look good, so I chose to try to make it look like a field. But when I showed it to my husband, and I didn't say that to him, and I just said like, hey, what do you think of this page? I don't know how I feel about it. And he was like, I feel like that should have been brown. And I was like, you know what? I thought the same thing, and then I didn't do it. So now when I look at it, if it was just a plain field, I think green would have looked good. But because it has these lines and it looks like, you know, you would sew something there, I think that makes it look a little odd. It doesn't look like grass. And I'm also not sure how I feel about the background, but I had done all this and a lot of my markers are dying. I'm working on getting refills for them, and I didn't want to waste a ton of ink on this back. I kind of liked the idea of trying to make it look like a tile. And so that's what I did there. And then I used number 472 to pick out some greens that went well together. And then these are the markers that I chose. And so you can see where number 84 is and number 472, the greens that I picked. So basically what I do to kind of share my process, I got this green from this palette here. I added in a green that I felt like kind of went with it, and that I wanted them to kind of have contrast, so they kind of stood out as different. And then I looked through my color companion book, my color catalog companion, and found what palettes had these markers in them, and then chose another color that was from that had the same markers in it, if that makes sense. That I do that a lot to help me as I still learn about color theory, and it seems like common sense to me, but then when I'm actually choosing colors, it can be so easy to get overwhelmed really fast. So that really helps me, and that's why I always rave about the color catalog. Even though I'm obviously not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, it's just made my coloring so much more enjoyable, and so I like to share it with you anytime I can, and I'll link that stuff below too. But that is the next page that I did in Country Seasons. Next, I did a page in Forest Song by R.J. Hampson. I love R.J. Hampson. He is my favorite illustrator for coloring books. I love his books. Every time I flip through them, I get so excited about coloring, even when I'm in a coloring slump. And I recently discovered that he has a YouTube channel, and I've been loving putting on his Color With Me videos while I'm coloring. And he also, I just discovered, which I think is so cool, post back behind the scenes of his coloring books, and he shows you sketches and kind of talks through his thought process, and I have just never seen that before. And so I am a big fan of R.J. Hampson, and it also happens to be my husband's favorite artist. That whenever I do one of his pages, he's like, oh, R.J. Hampson gets me every time. We love him. So anyway, I really love his books. And for this page, I don't know how I feel about this page. As much as I love R.J. Hampson and I love this page, I think I might have ruined it. I'm not sure, but and he does have two in his books, so there is another one back here somewhere that I could redo it, but I don't like to do a page twice, but I could if I wanted to. I do love the mallards on, I think he did them to be a female and male pair, so I kept to that, and I do like those, but I am not sure how I feel about, as you can see, I did not stick to a limited color palette, and I think that might have been my mistake. I thought a forest has so many different greens, and I thought that I could pull that off and it would look very, not natural, because it's not that his art is realistic looking, but I thought that it would just kind of go. But I feel like these pine trees, the blue green clashing with these warmer greens, I think that it's a lot going on. I have every kind of green you can think of. I pretty much have all my favorite greens in the set. And so I think that's kind of where I went wrong. Had I done all the same greens, I think it might have worked better. because otherwise there's not really anything else that stands out to me. I like the mountains and the sun. This little beetle's fine. I looked up a little colorful beetle online, and I was really excited to find this image, and I thought that is perfect to use as inspiration for this. So this is number 317 of the color palettes, excuse me. And so I used that as inspiration for these flowers. But anyway, I think that's the problem. And then two, you will have seen me, when was it that I mentioned it? I think it's in my choosing a color palette video. I showed this without the castle being done, and I said I was intimidated and didn't know what to do the color of this. And I had said terracotta because I was thinking about that. And then I chose to go a safer route and do a neutral. But I did a light color, and then I didn't like the way it looked, so I went over it, and I don't think I have this on here, but I went over it lightly with a colored pencil that's the same color as these tree trunks to help tie in the colors better, and that helped. And then now the only thing I think that I'm not crazy about with this is I think I should have done a lighter shade of yellow in the windows here, but overall I like it, but it's very busy, and I think I just did too many colors, and especially looking at it and talking about it with you guys, which is part of the reason I love making these videos. It helps me digest what I did and what to do differently and what to learn about for next month, or what to learn from for next month. So yeah, I think the greens. It solidifies what I was already thinking about me and limited color palettes. So that is from Forest Song. The next page I did is in Cozy Spaces by Coco Wayo. I love this book. I think that I've done the most pages in it because it was one of my very first coloring books. So like, I think, yeah, it was one of my second or third coloring book I ever got. And one of my very first pages is in here somewhere. That was one of my, it might have been my very first page. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, this book I've done a lot in, and I love this little page. I used a lot of color palettes here with it, but I think I kept them in the same family. So the main color palette that I used was 89, and you can kind of see that here at the top. So those are the main colors that I went with, and I tried to keep to that. And so I did that with the flowers and the greenery, the sky, and then the bell, obviously. So I kept all of those, and then the fence, and also this was technically the marker was what is down here on the dirt. So I did all of that, and then it was time to do these little flowers and the inside of here. And it was, you know, again, felt pressure of what do I do, because I love the way this is looking. And what colors do I choose in here? Because I feel like if I do the same as what's around it, it won't look good. So I compared other palettes and found ones that had the same markers as these that went well with it. And so I pulled in some orange. Again, when in doubt, I go for complementary colors. And I was like, we got a lot of blue going on. I think he could use, or she could use, a little orange chair. And then from there, the last thing I did was all of these pinks, and the book and this little tea stuff, the slippers, the ears I had pink, but these little images here, I didn't know what to do. I knew I wanted to do them all the same color, but I didn't know what to do. And so I chose a pink, and they're not on either of these. That was just, as you can see, my last little decision, and I think that I pulled it off. But there are the markers that I picked. And some of this is chicken scratch because, you know, I'm just in the middle of coloring, and I just am jotting it down for you all. So it may not be 100% accurate, but I hope it can help some of you out if you're interested in copying a photo. But I love the way this turned out. I was not happy at first when I colored this down here because I thought it was going to be more green than it was. And then I decided to just make it look like dirt, and I think I kind of pulled that off. And it ran over the lines here, which was a mistake. So then I went over it with my Jelly Roll pen and then added some light gray up, like kind of feathered. And I tried to make it look like that was just dirt down here, that this was just a dirty fence. And I was happy with that. I'm always very pleased when I'm able to pull around a mistake. I also really played around with, I think I used 2 different shades to kind of blend and make this look a little bit more shaped. And at first I didn't like it, but now stepping back looking at it, I think that looks nice. And I love the shading on these flowers as well. I have some yellow flowers like this that pop up every year in my yard that I love, except I think there might be a different flower, but they're the same kind of color. I'm blanking on the name of them. But anyway, I think this is very cozy. And speaking of reading a book in a little chair, I love this. So I'm also played around with the light effect here of where the light hits. So that is the next page that I did. And again, that is in Cozy Spaces. The next pages are in Little Corner, and I love this book. It's one of my newer ones that I've shared with you. And again, this is in the same color with me as the one with the chair on that is underneath the tree. And it's kind of a swing chair. And it's my most recent color with me, I'm pretty sure. And again, I talked through my process and I've really enjoyed making that video. And again, I've made that like flower pot video to post that color with me, and I didn't like the way it went, but I am excited to post more color with me's, and my ultimate goal is to post one of those more regularly alongside my more planned videos, but still trying to find a routine and with my job and everything. But basically, this is the color palette that I chose. It's number 105. And I really love this. And I think I couldn't have chose a better one for this. I'm so happy with it. And so, yeah, I just love the way it turned out. If you are interested in watching color with me's that don't have as much chatty talking, this one I talked less than I did the other page because I filmed that late at night and I got sleepy. So this one, my heater in my room was some ambient background noise, but you can hear the marker on the page. And so I actually love watching videos like that, and I have rewatched that even at night to put me to sleep, just having it on the background. But anyway, yeah, that is this page. I'm so happy with it. And again, it was very hard for me to stick to a palette, but this was actually the first page that I used like 6 markers or less. I can't remember, but the only thing I think I added to this was the cat colors. And then the scratch post and this color, I wanted to have a lighter color for the scratch post. And I was able to use that for the tags and stuff. I think those are the only colors that I added. Oh, and the food up here. I felt like that had to be different. But yeah, I left this bone just white. Some of the white, used the negative space to my advantage. And so that really made me happy because I was able to knock out this page fast because I just did it like I do my mandalas, where I just pick a palette and then I just color, and I really enjoyed it. So I've been trying to play around with that. Oh, this page, I don't like this page, and let me tell you why. So I wanted to play around with a neon effect, and I teased this and mentioned it in my last video when I showed you in my haul the Posca markers that I used that on this. First of all, love the Posca markers, but I tried to do this out of my brain of how a neon sign would look, and it didn't go well. And then I looked up I did the rest of the page, and then I looked up for future reference how to do a neon sign in cozy coloring, and I came across Anna Land. She has a TikTok. If you search Anna Land, or if you even search neon cozy coloring technique, it was like the first one that came up, and it made me feel even more discouraged about my page because hers just looked unbelievable. So if you want to see this page done really well in a short format, I definitely recommend looking up Anna Land. But it was actually kind of funny because I didn't look at that before, and I did the neon sign. She did a glittery mirror. I did the strokes along here. We both did light colored wood and I think darker brushes here. But there were some things different, like her ring light was yellow and hers was a lot more girly, and it looked better overall. But it was funny that we had a lot of similarities, even though I didn't even see that. This also was the first time I've ever done a glitter effect. I watched a video on YouTube on how to do that and thought that was really cool. And if I can find it, I will link anyone that I mention. I'll link it in the description if I can. I'm still figuring that out, but I'll try to. But yeah, I'm not super crazy about this page. And also I think that the wood doesn't really come off of the background well. Just there's not a lot of contrast there. And I got to a point where I was like discouraged about it and I didn't love it. So I just stopped and thought, you know what? I had fun doing it. I learned some new techniques, and that's that. And I was done with it, and that's okay. I think sometimes we can be done with a page and and be done. If we're not having fun anymore, it's time to put it down. So I learned from it, and I do love this little eyeshadow palette. I was very happy with that. And I put little white pen marks on 3 of them to make it look shimmery. I think that's cute. And all of these little products were fun to color. But yeah, I am not crazy about this page, but if you like it, or if there's a specific color you like, then here are the colors that I chose. And that is the pages that I did in Little Corner this month. The next page is in Joy for the Journey. This is a Christian book with Bible verses. And again, I stuck to a color palette. Like I said, I've been really trying to lean into that. And as a side note, I was amazed by this because I forgot to put a bleed sheet behind this book. And I was devastated when I realized it, and I quickly rushed and pulled out the book, and then lo and behold, it didn't even bleed. It bled through here, but it didn't go onto this page. And I was like amazed by that. But anyway, it did just a little bit right here. But otherwise, and I have found with this book that if I don't put paper in between it, that for some reason as it sits, it does kind of bleed through it. I don't know what it is about this paper, but because it's thicker, it's not just Amazon paper. And anyway, I was really impressed with that. But this just says she is clothed with strength and dignity, and she can laugh at the days to come. Proverbs 31:25. And I chose the color palette 92. And this is the markers that corresponds to. And again, I just really liked the way it looked. I felt like this looked very 90s and retro. The font maybe with the color choices. And I've shared this before, but I love this book because it's very sketchy. Like the other pages I've done in here as well. I think I talked about this in my coloring book collection video, but I've done a couple other pages in here. And I was able to just be really sketchy and stay out of the lines. And none of my other books are really like that. And it's almost like a really good warm-up. Like I was a little bit in a coloring slump the second half of the month. And I wanted to just shake that off and try to just start coloring, because once I do, I am glad that I did and I want to keep going. But sometimes I just get some kind of mental block. And so I just kind of sketched this out and had fun with it. And lo and behold, then I colored 2 pages in the next 24 hours, which are actually the next 2 pages. And so I did this page and the next 2 in 24 hours because this just really stirred up my creativity and helped me shake that off. So that is from, what did I say? It's called Joy for the Journey. Again, I'll link it in the description. The next one is in Girl Moments by Coco Wyo. My sister did a couple pages in this. This is the first page she did of a girl watering these flowers, and there's some strawberries here. And I had so much fun, like I said, coloring my sisters. They said that it wouldn't have been as fun if they didn't. I don't think I have my Molly, my sister that is an artist. I don't have, she didn't get to finish the page because she has 2 little ones and she had to run around and get them. So she didn't get to actually finish a page. But she, I guess I should have clarified that the sister that did this is not the artist. We were just doing it for fun. But I'll have to have my sister who is an artist do a page so I can share it with you guys. But anyway, yeah, she draws realism and does realistic stuff and dog portraits and stuff. In fact, I didn't even think of this, but I think she still has her Etsy shop. If she does, I'll link it below if you just are curious and want to see it. She does like dog portraits and different stuff and ornaments and car things with your pets in for your rearview mirror and different stuff like that. And I'll see if she still has an Etsy page and link whatever I can below. But anyway, yeah, this is my sister Anna. She did this, and they said that they liked coloring with me because they didn't have to search for which markers to choose. They just asked me and I knew where they were because you get to where you memorize them. And then this is one of the ones that I did after the last page that I showed you that was mine, after I got kind of a warm up, and I'm so happy with this page. So these are the colors that I picked. And again, you can see right here, I love those colors together. I don't know, there's something about it. And again, I tried to keep to a more limited palette. Somehow it still adds up. But I tried to do the blues of the same here. And then I did do these hangers the same color as this, and then I wanted them to be white. So I went over it with a Posca marker. The socks, excuse me, are the same color as this. And then the greenery was just, I have fun with plants. I just color them whatever. That's what I did with the R.J. Hampson book, but it didn't work out in that case. I'm so sorry. I keep having like some kind of hiccup. But I also did, I'm just now realizing, 2 orange cabbies this month because I did it in the rocking chair page, and then I also did it with this one. Someone said in my, I think it was my color with me, that no, it wasn't my color with me. What was it? Where was it that I colored a cat? Maybe it was the pet stripe one. I don't know, but in one of my page, apparently I've colored a lot of cats, and in one of them, they said they would have loved to see an orange tabby. So I did that this month. But anyway, yeah, I did color these a different color. And again, I went over it with the white because I just felt like that would have looked better. And I had a lot of fun with this one. And I did her slippers, and her shirt is yellow to kind of make her stand out among everything else. Oh, I also played around with a wood grain texture on the background, which I like. My grandparents, both my grandparents' houses have wood paneling. They're the original houses of when my parents were little. And so that always makes me feel quite nostalgic. And I also added lines down here with my, you'll see from my haul video, I showed that I like to add lines sometimes. And I did that with my fat Pigra Micron, and it's not perfect. The right here, especially these lines, I did it sideways and I kind of messed up there. I did it with pencil, but then when I was doing it with the marker, I went thicker and thicker, like I said, like I do with eyeliner. So it didn't end up looking perfect, but that's okay. I wanted to have a brick down here, and I just felt like it needed some type of pop of like burnt red. And so that was my excuse to kind of do that. And this made me think of like someone's basement with like the wood paneling and the bricks. I don't know, but again, super cozy, and I'm very in cleaning mode right now, spring cleaning, and so that's why I chose this page with her doing laundry. And I did a little golden retriever here, and I love golden retrievers. I can't remember if I've shared this before. I know I've shared that I've worked with animals a lot, but I used to be a vet assistant. My mom is a veterinarian. I used to be a vet assistant, and I just loved Goldens. And one of the lead vets there had a golden puppy, and his name was Buddy, and I just loved him. So, oh wait, was there another one in this? Oh yeah, this is another page that my sister did. But yeah, she was getting frustrated with picking out colors too. And I was like, Anna, I know that's what happens with me. So anyway, when she got to this page, I was talking to her about having a limited color palette and trying to reuse the colors. And so she was playing around with that too. But yeah, we talked a lot about choosing colors, and it can be frustrating and discouraging. But I've got one more page for you. These were in Girl Moments. The last page is in one of my favorite books. I love this so much. If you did watch my coloring haul, you would have heard me talk about my guinea pigs. And these are obviously related, capybaras, and I love them. I love the way they look. I love guinea pigs and capybaras. And this book, I've shown these pages that I've done before. They're 2 of my favorite pages I've ever done, both of these. There's something about this paper. Again, the alcohol markers do not go out of the lines like a lot of other books. It's not Amazon paper. You can tell by the glossy cover. It's a very nice, thicker book, and I feel like it's very underrated. They have multiple, and I don't know if they're a newer brand of book, but they have, the other one that I would love to get eventually is Color Me Critters, I think it's called. But the art, I don't love in it as much as I love this one. So I haven't ordered any of their other books. But I wish that there was another one that I really loved, because this paper is amazing with the alcohol markers. The way that it blends and the way that it doesn't go out of the page. And then also just how adorable the images are. So they have like okay, sorry about that. My husband scared the actual living daylights out of me. He just got home, and I didn't see him out the window, and he just pops his little head around like a freak right at the window, and it just absolutely terrified me. I'm still not fully recovered. But anyway, they have I think I was saying that they have like an Easter book and what else do they have? They also have one about farts, about critters farting, and which I think would be a hilarious gag gift for somebody, because it's actually a very nice book, but it's just animals with poofs at their bottom. So anyway, they have some interesting one. It is, who is the Cider Mills Press book publishers, but it's just got the cutest little back, like description, and what is it, a captivating coloring book. It's just I don't know, I was so happy with this. And I also used the back here. It has these, I've used that before to test out colors, and it's got the cutest images. So I love this book. Every time I have to tell y'all how much I love it, but I've seen this page, this one a lot of people have posted and I've seen online, and I just love it. And I looked up blue eastern birds as inspiration up here. I didn't want the birds to really pop. I wanted them to kind of blend in like they would in nature, where you're like, oh, there's a bird there. So I chose bluebirds, and that's also my husband's favorite. And I like coloring them. I've colored blue eastern birds before. I know which colors look like them, and I tried to do like a male and a female, like the lighter colors and the darker. I had a lot of trouble with his little eye, and I'm not sure I pulled it off, but anyway, I love this. I wanted to do much brighter colors than I typically do, so I chose a really bright color for the grass and a brighter color for the sky. But then when I did the bushes, I wanted these guys to pop, so I chose a darker color. But again, I always think with greenery that the greens are going to go together better than they do. And so what I ended up doing, because it clashed, was, again, my favorite trick is to add colored pencil over that matches the color of this to kind of help it tie together. And my sister, who I was talking about earlier, her name's Molly. Actually, I forgot that I've posted with my sisters. In November, I did a vlog of us going on a girls trip. And so some of you might have seen that and might know them by name. But my sister Molly, who's the younger of the two, she taught me that when I asked her about one of my pages, my safari page in RJ Hampson that you might have seen. She said, use colored pencil to tie it in. If you feel like it's clashing, just put shade with colored pencil and it helps pull in the colors. And that has been a game changer for me. So anyway, I'll let you know if she shares any other good tips with me. But again, I used GY6 on this. That's my favorite yellow. And the first thing I did was put yellow on everywhere that the sun would hit, but it's quite subtle. And then I did the sun, and then I just kind of filled in from there. And I did it really fast and loved it. I used my Posca pen to add some texture to the clouds, but you probably can't see that. But yeah, I loved it. I used 310 as inspiration. So I did the grass, the sky, and the mountains, and I think, what else did I do? And I might have done the greenery as well. And then these flowers and their little outfits were left. And I wasn't sure what colors to do. So I saw this and thought, I love that. And I started by doing his pants. And then I was looking at the colors that I had, and I just started to adapt it. So you can see here, I chose those. And then I looked at these, and I thought, those kind of look like corduroy pants, like Paddington Bear, they reminded me of. And I was like, I want to kind of give him a pop of a shirt. And so I did the purple, and I was about to do his shirt purple. And then I thought that was more of like a blue on my Ohuhu swatch sheet. And once I saw it was purple, I thought, I'm going to do that for her. And I don't really know which one's the he and the she, but I did it as she and he. And then anyway, I chose him to be this deep blue, which I'm so happy with, and I'm happy with her little outfit. And then I used the pinkish colors to do her little mug here and these flowers to kind of tie that in. So that was my thought process behind it, but here are the colors if you are interested. But that is the last page, I'm pretty sure, that I did this month. And so now I am super excited to share with you my new coloring books. But again, this is Color Me Capybaras. So the first book that I got, I saw Jody Moments post about it. And again, I'm going to try to link everything that I can in the description. I'd love to say that because I love when people link all the things below. And so I try to help y'all out in any way that I can with that. So all the people that I mentioned, I'm going to try to find their pages and link that. And hopefully that you can find some new people that way. But she posted about these mystery coloring books, and I had never seen anything like this. And I think she showed 3 different ones, and I liked the wild animals one. And basically it says, solve the riddle and color by numbers to reveal the picture. And it's illustrated by Eugene Veron, maybe. And I thought this was so cool. I'm geeking out about this book. I just had never seen something like it. And it has the colors you do here. So you color by letter, and you basically, as you can imagine, when you do a page, you can just fold that over and use it as a reference. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is go through and choose the Ohuhu marker that matches this most closely and write that next to it. So then I don't have to pick the colors. And I have never done, someone actually asked me in a comment recently, do you enjoy or have you used a color by number coloring book? And I don't have a single one of all my coloring books. So very excited about that. I just like with the example pages that I thought I wouldn't like, and then I ended up loving. I think I'm going to end up loving that too. Same thing with mandalas too. With those, I thought I wouldn't like those, and then I did them, and again, they're very stress relieving. You just choose a color palette, and it's very repetitive, and you don't have to think about it. And I'm realizing as I'm speaking that you could think even less about this because it even tells you where to do what color. So I'm very excited. But anyway, sorry again for ranting, but I am just very, very excited about this book. Okay. Oh, and it looks like it's newer, 2024. Immerse yourself in these captivating mystery coloring pages. And I see it says it has high quality paper. It is much higher. It's not just Amazon paper. So it has a riddle, and then it says, what am I? And then you can do it. And obviously this one, I'm thinking, is this one I see. It's got bright, vibrant feathers. And it's tiny little spaces, but these, for instance, I don't know if you can see, but like all of these are in. So it's not like, for the most part, you're not going to be doing a tiny little space in one. And I think it was her, if it wasn't, it might have been a different channel that used Ohuhu markers, and they worked really well on this paper. And so, yeah, I'm excited. So I won't say what I think they are, but I'm just going to flip through. This is not as exciting as the other flip throughs, I'm realizing. Because obviously, I don't know if you can see what you're looking at. Looking at it in person now, you can kind of get an idea of what it is. But it's still really fun. You still don't know like what it's going to turn out like, you know. Yeah, I think it was this page she did. She also, if you're interested in this book or any of the other ones in the series, definitely check out her video, because she also even measured the spaces and like compared which books were thicker and which ones weren't as thick. And at the back of the book, there is, what do you call it? An answer key. And I'm thinking that's my favorite animal. I'm trying not to say, but I don't want to see the colors and the end results, but I'm going to kind of see if I can look away and flip through it anyway, so that if you're interested, if you do want to see and have spoilers, I'll show you. Or if you're not going to get the book and you just want to see, I will flip through it. But I'm going to try my very hardest not to look, because I don't want any spoilers. Oh, okay. Here we go. I only saw one of them. I'm going to flip through this. I'm looking at the sky. Wow, feels like there's a lot. The back? Okay, yes, that's the back. So, oh, and then let me see. So, yes, there's mandalas, flowers, and Japan. So, oh gosh, I can't escape it. I can't escape it. Okay, but that is mystery coloring, and it's wild animals. The next book is My Tiny Forest by Nina Stratton. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but I believe this book started out as something on Etsy, and then it did well, so it came over to Amazon, and I first saw it was a while ago, and for some reason it was always in my save for later, and I always chose other coloring books over it, but I don't know why, because look at these darling little images. Look at this. This is one of my favorites. I did see this. I saw someone post this one, but I've told you guys before, I love a little cozy nook with the string lighting, and when it's little critters. It's kind of like my book Crittersville, except it's in a square format. I don't have any square books that are other than Bold and Easy. And the little artwork of the way, look at this birthday party. That's so cute. The way, oh my gosh. I mean, this book is just to die for, in my opinion. The little critters' faces and the way that they're so like sketchy, and they're true like woodland creatures and not as much like cozy little critters. It makes it that much cuter to me. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have fun doing that. I was just looking at this quilt. It has different patterns, it looks like, so I can do some like patchwork kind of colors. Oh, look at him, and he's knitting a little, are you kidding me? Oh my goodness, I love it so much. And it's quite a bit of drawings too. I mean, it's thicker than I thought. Oh, that is so adorable. So I think, is it the same 4 critters? I'm not sure. Here's a little Christmas one. Moon. That will be a good practice for me to practice like a nighttime sky. I love an aerial shot in a coloring book. Okay. And that was printed on the 10th of March. I love seeing when they were printed. I think that's what that date is. But that is My Tiny Forest. It's so beautiful. The next one is My Coloring Time Practice Workbook. And it says train and perfect new skills. And I think Crafty Canadian or a Glitter Crafty, the worst with names, but again, I'll link it below. But I think she maybe posted about this, and I loved this idea of a little workbook to practice. So you can practice a gradient. So here you test and choose your gradient color blends here, and then you can swatch which colors you use, and then you can test and design your sky decoration here, and then you can illustrate to practice your gradient skills. Okay, so I kind of said that out of order, but you would color swatch, then you would practice the gradient, then you would test the sky, and then you would illustrate to practice your gradient skills. And then on the next page, well, you can do the same thing if you don't like it and you want to do a different one, or just play around with different colors, like you want to do a morning sky versus a night sky. And then you have a page to fully practice that's by itself. Isn't that such a neat idea? I've never seen anything like it. Cushions and blanket practice. So you would swatch, then test, then come up with a design, and then put it down here. So you kind of get the idea. But this one is cushions and blankets. This one's night sky. Love that the little swatches go with the theme. Grass, trees, and bushes. Fire and warm light practice. Water and bubbles practice. Invisible objects practice. Snow and window frost. Stone path. Wood grain. And light versus dark. Is that the last one? No, also grayscale and fog. Also the 10th of March. I don't know. Maybe that isn't what I thought it was. I think it's when they print it. Like I must have ordered them on the same day and they got printed as for it. But anyway, yeah. Fun space to explore, try, and perfect techniques to make your coloring project scream wow. So that is My Coloring Time Practice Workbook by Colored Caramel. The next book you've probably all seen. This is Stress Relief by Coco Wyo. I've seen this book everywhere, and I think it's like maybe her top selling one. I'm not sure, but I don't have a book that is this truly bold and easy. Like, it's got 52 images, but it is not a, what's the word? Like an image. It's gosh, you know what I'm saying. It's not a, I can't think of the term I'm looking for, but it's not like a set and a cohesive image with different parts. It's just a pumpkin and a scarf and an umbrella. You know what I'm saying. You're probably screaming the word at me that I'm thinking of. So it's just extremely simplified, which is nice because you can add a lot to it. It'd be a great way to practice textures and stuff. Oh. So, like I said, I've seen this one everywhere, and I thought it would be a great way, without making something look busy, to practice different techniques. Like, I want to play around with patchwork. This would be a great page for that. Let's see, what other ideas? I was thinking about some other ones. Wood grain maybe on this base. I could do a pattern on this banner. Fur. The fire glowing, the night sky. It's got quite the variety. Oh, that's one of my favorites. I love it. I love little cute bugs. A little bit of everything. But yeah, this is way simpler than any of my other books. Sorry, it's always tricky as we get to the end here. All right, 52 pages. That's by Coco Wyo. And just a few more. This is Serene Landscapes. I haven't seen anyone post about this one, but I wanted more bold and easy books, and when I was looking, I dove deep and to try to find one that I hadn't seen and something that was different than what I already own. And I love landscapes. I was drawn to the mountains. Like I said, I love them. This is by Snail's Pace Publishing. And just as a side note, I hope that it is okay to share, but when I bought this, it had is it in the front? Yeah, it's in the front, which I'm not going to show it just out of respect for the artist or the publishing group, but they have a QR code that takes you to a website where if you sign up for their email, I think it is, and it might just be on their regular site. I'm not sure if it's like exclusive to when you purchase one of their books, but you get a new page every Friday, I think, in your email, and you immediately get a free coloring book that's like 40 pages or something like that, and it's all desserts, and it's bold and easy. So I printed it out and sent it to my sister for my niece who I was talking about, and she loves it. So anyway, this obviously has landscapes, and I like, one thing I did notice when I was unboxing it really briefly was just that the lines are more gray, which I kind of like. And like I said, I don't have anything like it, and I thought it would be really fun to color in, because I love landscapes and nature like this, and going on hikes and road trips to different places and stuff. I'm a homebody, so I don't travel a whole lot, but I would love to color and, you know, pretend I'm at these places. That's a cute one. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think of this one, but I thought it was really cute. And what I was gonna say is, I think Snail's Pace Publishing, and there's a QR code I'm gonna try to hide in the back as well. I think that's such a cute name, but yeah, I think they might be newer. So if you want to support them, because they put that QR code in it, and it just seems like, from what I saw, they don't have a whole lot. So I think they're newer, but I thought this was so stinking cute. So that's Serene Landscapes, a bold and easy coloring book. The next one you've probably seen before. It's called Adorable Town, and again, I love mentioning other channels that I like, and I love hearing what channels you guys all enjoy too. But Maya, I can't remember her last name, and I sound like a broken record, but I will put it below. But a girl on YouTube named Maya you probably have heard of her. She's a pretty big YouTuber that does art. Well, she posted about this book months ago, and I loved watching her color in it. And I've been wanting it for a while, and I mentioned that in a previous video, and someone was like, you have to get it, it's wonderful. It has a QR code for music that you can listen to while you do this. I've not used that yet, but I haven't colored in this at all yet, but I like to give y'all a fresh flip through. But yeah, it's got different storefronts that go with the theme of the, I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss one, with the store. Little radio, noodle shop, bookstore. She did this one in one of her videos and it was stunning. It's just really adorable. And it's kind of bold and easy in a way. It's not one of the square books. That one's extra cute. I think there's another bookstore one in here somewhere. Oh, maybe not. But that is Adorable Town by Lainey Dial. And this is a series, so there's a lot of them. But I finally got it, and I'm excited to do a page in here and to share it with you all. And then the last book is Bobbie Goods. So Bobbie Goods is actually what got me into coloring. I noticed it had a little sticker in there. Let me make sure I'm not missing one. Yeah, that's it. But I saw a TikTok, or I'm not on TikTok, so it must have been like an Instagram reel or something. And I saw someone coloring with Bobbie Goods stuff, and I thought, I want to do that. And so I looked into Bobbie Goods and what she used, and then in her videos, and then I learned about Ohuhu markers. And so then I purchased her, or my husband got me her This and That coloring book and the Ohuhu markers for Christmas the year before last in 2023. I was trying to remember. Yeah, 2023. And that was what started it all for me. And I got that book, and then I was really intimidated by it because it's the most expensive coloring book that I have. Well, now Beautiful Days of Green Ivy, I think, was a little bit more maybe. But it's one of the more expensive ones. It's like $22 a book, and they're really hard to come by because they sell out. He had to get on there right when they restocked. But for that reason, it makes me intimidated. And I follow her on Instagram, and she posts all these people's pages that are unbelievable. So it holds me back because I just, in my mind, see how other people did it, and mine isn't quite like I would want it to look or be. And so I find that I don't gravitate towards her books, but I only had the one book, and it made it feel extra special. So I went ahead and got her second one to support her because I know she does her own thing and it's not on Amazon. And I thought it might also encourage me to use it more because, you know, it's not so like the other one I didn't want to ruin because they were hard to come by and it was only my one. And now I'm hoping that this will help kind of shake that off. But this one's called Day and Night, and it's got this character, I forget what it said her name was, but it's got her day from day to night and what she does, her little routine. So this is a little checklist. You can pause it if you want, but you can do, all her books have that. So she gets up, has her breakfast, gets dressed, mows the lawn or waters the flowers. Then she commutes to work, sells work stuff, lunch break, a little afternoon nap. Look, there's little eggs up there. Grocery store shop, guitar practice, yoga, walking the cat, it looks like. What is this one? Sundown sale, dinner party, and backyard hangout, and then stargazing and a starlight story, and then good night, and then a little midnight snack. So I thought this was such a cute concept. A little thank you, and then there's always a color test page as well. So I love her branding. I also I saw that she came out with stickers or little info cards, I think, for each character that's in her book, and it tells you about them, and I love that and think that would be so fun to collect or to even make a video about someday. But that is the last book that I got this month. So that is everything. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know in the comments. Let me know what your favorite page was. And also let me know what coloring books you are enjoying, because I do like to get a few every month to share with you in my completed pages videos. So I'd love any suggestions, if there's any books that you are especially enjoying right now. I have said it a bunch, but I love hearing from you all in the comments. And also, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing so that you never miss one of my videos. But that is it for today, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye!